One that really pops out for me that I stuck with and I still say it every day is, if it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you.
Tahi rua toru wha ti hei Mauri Ora. No mai haramai, and welcome to the Chur Māori podcast, the podcast where we interview Māori people in business, share their stories, and help inspire other Māori people to get out there, be a boss, and get ahead in life. Enough korero, let's start the show. Chur. Alright, cool. So, kia ora te whanau, welcome to the Chur Māori podcast where we interview Māori in business and share their stories, and so you guys can get a head start on building your own business. And tonight I've got a special guest, and I can't wait to introduce you, but this guy, he's a bit of a hard fella to pin down. He's a little bit like Tāwhiri Mātia, and he's all around the motu, all around, and so I've got the privilege to have him here tonight to talk about his journey through business, his kaupapa, and one that's on the forefront at the moment is Hawaiki Toa, which is something that I'll let him put it all about. But it's an awesome kaupapa, and instead of me talking about it, I'll introduce him. So I'll bring him on now. So here we go. Here he is, here the man, Beez Ngarino Te Waati, the bro. So introduce yourself, bro.
Kia ora mai tātou, tēnā rā wātua ana koutou te hunga mātakitaki, hunga whakarongo rānei. Ko mai tēnei, mihi atu ana kia koutou mā, ko Beez Ngarino Te Waati tōku ingoa. He uri whakaheke, roto mi a tāiwi waka, kaupiri te maunga, waikato te aua, waikato te iwi, ngā tinaho, ngā timahuta, ngā hapu, ko Maurea, ko Hukanui Aburi, ngā marae. O tira ki te taho tōku ne kuia, no roto mai tauranga moana, tauranga tangata, ngā tirangi nui, ngā te rangi Ngāti Pūkenga, he tātai whakapapa ki roto i a Ngāti Awa hoki, peke atu ana ki tēne ki taho tāmaki makaurau ki te waiohua. Nō reira, nei rā ka mihi. Kia ora everybody, my name is Beez Ngarino Te Waati. I hail from Waikato, tauranga moana, Ngāti Awa and te waiohua, based here in tāmaki makaurau. With me and my humble little whānau. And yeah, we've been introduced to this new concept that we've just built over the last year or so called Hawaiki Toa. And we're the kaitiaki of this particular kaupapa.
Kia ora, bro. Just to start off, whānau, I've had the privilege to attend something called Maori Movement. If you haven't heard about it before, this is the man, the face of that movement, and I had the privilege to attend in the Gold Coast, and it was an awesome experience. And for anybody out there who sees Maori Movement pop up in the area, make sure you have a look at it and jump on board. But tonight we're just going to talk about Hawaiki Toa first, and then we'll get a little bit of put it all about Beez and his journey through business, and then we'll wrap it up. So, yeah, just talk about Hawaiki Toa, bro. So what is Hawaiki Toa?
Hawaiki Toa. Well, Hawaiki Toa is a obstacle course. It was designed by myself or created by myself or out of my head. And predominantly the whakaaro in and around this was, how do we influence our people to move in a Maori way? And so what was going to be formulated by this was a deep wānanga, and the wānanga sort of entitled, how do we have a connection to whakapapa, atuatanga, pepeha, and the likes of what used to be formerly known by everybody inside a pātū watawata or a fortress. So I've always had this fascination as a tamariki that, man, what would have been like for our tupuna back in pre-European days? And, you know, I sort of thought to myself, life would have been awesome. It would have been awesome. They had their own ways of doing things. And it's like, how do we have one day where we could possibly live in that realm and experience those sorts of things our tupuna experience. Likewise, living inside a fortress, living inside a pātu wata, what sort of things that they had to go through on a daily basis. But before that as well, is how did our tupuna navigate from Hawaiki to Aotearoa with woven sails made out of blocks of timber, with double hull waka, and the resources that they had on those times to compass or navigate their way through a compass, only using the stars, the sun, the moon, and the tides. For me, I was thinking to myself, man, how can we create an environment for one moment in time where we would be able to live in that realm and experience what our tupuna experienced? So there was Hawaiki Toa was born.
So that's awesome, mate.
Yeah,
I know a lot of us running around as tamariki, we got a rākau and we imagine ourselves being a warrior and, being out on the waka, doing the paddling and all that kind of stuff. It's a world of one day when you can sort of go into the imagination. So for you to pull this together and put this event together for all of us Māori, that's awesome, eh?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the power of using your imagination. I mean, like, man, I try and use my creative side as much as I can, and sometimes which is not really helpful to my wife, because when I create something, I pass it on to her, and she has to do all of the back work behind it to get it. And she's like, "Can you stop creating stuff out of your head?" And I'm like, man, I'm aligned with it. I'm going to go for it, and that's just the way that my being works. I'm very in tune with my creative side, my imagination, and I think like I'm a dreamer. I dream up concepts all the time, but if it really aligns with the ngākau, with the manawa, and I know that my wairua is feeling it, then something's got to happen. So that's how Hawaiki Toa was born.
Oh, choice. Yeah. So if you could give us a little description of what people could expect if they signed up to this Hawaiki Toa event.
Yeah, well, so if you sort of feature this, we've got a really high class venue in Vector Whitewater Park, which is predominantly used for whitewater rafting. So we've built inside a channel, or an open water channel that has islands around it as well. So we've sort of got this sort of Polynesian scope of the whole entire area. And on the outside of it, we're building a fortress. So we're building an ancient pass site with obstacles in it. So as you come in and you register and you get your race pack, etc., you'll get taken into a bullpen. In the bullpen, you'll be briefed. And in the briefing, you'll get an explanation on what has the breakdown of what and how you're going to compete in this course. And from there, you'll get warmed up. You'll get your body warmed up, but it's the ceremony that takes place before you leave the island. So you'll go into the sand bunker where you'll go to the start line, and this ritual or this karakia is going to be planted over you as if you were leaving the lands of Hawaii and you were navigating your way through this open water ocean. And so that's the open water swim. The open water swim for beginners is 500 meters. So it's broken down into two concepts. You'll swim out 250 meters through the open water. Then you'll go up a river channel. It takes you down to a slide, and then you'll exit out. So all up, it's about 500 meters of swimming and treading water, running on the sandbanks, etc. But there's one little key component that I'll speak about soon. For the intermediates, you've got to do 2 laps. So that's about 1 kilometer, and for the advanced, you do 1.5. But when you come out of the water, there's a little section on the sandbanks that you have to go down and dive for your pounamu. Now, this pounamu signifies mana or power. And if it's a small little pounamu, then that's the mana that you're going to start with. But ultimately, what that pounamu represents is it's almost like your acceptance into the collective or the community that we're based around. And that pounamu, when it touches your skin, it almost connects an automatic or an instant power to you. So our pounamu, they are very sacred stones that hold a lot of mana. And so when you collect, when you get yours, it's about earning your keep. And it's about earning the perspective of how you hold your mana. And then you'll go into a run. Now, the run, it was based around, this idea was based around cultivating the land. So when our tupuna arrived here, they had to figure out how to organize the land boundaries, because if you didn't sort your land boundaries out, then you would be breaching into other people's hapu or living spaces. So they would cultivate it. And the way they did that was they ran around in a loop. Some of them had these big kites, and they escalated the kite, and they said, wherever the kite lands, that's our land boundary and that's yours. So from there, it's a landscaping run. So you run for about 3 kilometers around the whole entire island, but your job is to find a taurahere, and when you find this rope, you put it through the pounamu, tied around your neck, and that is almost like the mana that you carry for your tupuna, your ancestors, the work that you've done in and around cultivating that land, and that leads you into the next channel, which is our last one, which is the fortress or the pātu wata wata. Now, the pā site has got 5 obstacles, traditional base obstacles. The first one is a Mauri Ora or a trench. So our tupuna were into digging underground, eh? They dug underground.
Yep.
There were safety sitting around. There were little portals or like living in the ground. And so this is like a maze, this portal of this pātu wata. So you'll come up on planks, you'll go down into a maze, you'll find your way out. And then that's the first obstacle. So it's a little bit of a sensory, mind-blowing sort of experience, but you'll get to feel shit. Like if I know my maze, I've got to find my own way out and navigate myself out into the safe zone. The second one is a potama, and all you got to do is just climb over the certain heights of these potama. So it's almost like a wall climb. The third one is a sack carry into a hangi pit. And now this hangi pit is a big oval, eh? And in the oval, you've got to go in one way, carry your hangi sack, but you've got water and smoke coming out all over the place, eh? So it's almost like, get out of there, otherwise you're going to be the hangi sort of thing. So that's the concept of in the hangi. Throw that down, then you've got to go through this net. So it's like an underground net. You go down into the channels and you've got to scope your way up. The last one is the two mātauinga challenge. So these are different like walls that are staggered all over the place. There are going to be certain warriors behind there, just giving you an element of surprise and a bit of a pukana to encourage you to sort of go through the channel, and then you'll make your way out into the finish line. So the experience is very real. It's authentic, and the concepts are based on how our people became knowingly as the greatest navigators of all time in the whole world. We're the greatest navigators of the Pacific Ocean, and for us to have our mātauranga lived out in one experience, and this is the way that we're going to do it in an authentic way.
Oh, bro, that sounds awesome, eh? Like, the explanations got me excited. Like, I want to fly over from Brisbane and come and do it, eh? Over here in Brisbane, we had the privilege of having the Iron Māori at one stage down the Gold Coast, and just the atmosphere, the manaakitanga and everything around the whole event was awesome, and I can imagine this is going to be like on another level. It's I love the concept, all the thought of running through the fortress, going through all those obstacles. In the pounamu, it's one thing to get a pounamu, but to earn your pounamu, that's something else, eh? So the swim. So is there like any kind of time limits for people? Because myself, I've got pakihiwi shoulders from rugby league, so I'll be doggy paddling, I'll be like doing the breaststroke, so there's no time limit on the swim and all that kind of stuff.
No, not this year. We're sort of going to organically move people through this in heats. So you'll go in heats of 15 or 20, depending on how our heats are structured. But there are options for you if you're not a strong swimmer. That there are life jackets there. There are wetsuits available. I wouldn't advise swimming in booties because the water fills up in your boots. So just a good pair of goggles so that you can sort of see where you're going. We've got lifeguards on the islands, so watching your every move. We've got safety boats out there, and we've got a speed boat if anything goes really wrong. So in terms of health and safety risk, we're pretty covered, but we don't want to take away from the authenticity of what it means to be in an open water. It just means that we have sort of rescue missions in place if things go wrong. So really the essence is that we're covering our bases. But if you need a doggy paddle, if you need a backstroke, if you need to turn and just float there for a second, then you're more than welcome. There are a couple of islands on each side that you can sort of anchor up on and make sure that you can get your breath back if you need to before you go into the next leg or the next channel.
Oh, Joyce, that sounds everything covered, eh? Like I know there's a few people, might even be including myself on this one. I'd have to have a little bit of an elbow rest on the island, so it's good to know, eh? How do people register for Hawaiki Toa, bro?
Bro, they just go onto our website, which is www.hawaikitoa.com, and you just go into the link. You'll go into whatever sections that you want to participate in. So you've got a beginners, which is about 3 kilometers. You've got the intermediate, which is about 4 or 5 kilometers, and the advanced. If you're an athlete and you do the seasonal, there's a longer race course for you guys as well. But really, we just want to encourage all friends and whānau to take on the challenge, because it's really about the environment and the whanaungatanga that we will make inside it. There's also possibilities for groups as well. So you'll go in groups of 5, and you start together and you finish together. And this is about team camaraderie. So, really feeling that whanaungatanga, that you need each other to depend on each other in order to move through those boundaries. But it's really about making sure that everybody has an enjoyable experience. So there's no time limit on this one. But next year, you never know, we might go into heats, and who does the fastest time and create an almost like a scenario like the American Ninja Warrior sort of concept. We want to challenge our toughest athletes in Māoridom. You don't have to be just Māori, but if you want to take on these obstacles, there could be an opportunity for next year to. So just put your hand up and say yes, jump in there, give it a go.
Yeah, hard, get in there. And even though it's the first one, you can still be there. You can still run that race like you are. There is a prize at the end.
Yeah.
Like that you can take that money away from the event for being the first to finish in that in those different categories. I guess bragging rights for next year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of competitors that have put their name and said, "I want to take this out. I want to be the fastest competitor on the very first Hawaiki Toa Realm of the Gods obstacle course." And I'm like, man, if that's your incentive, go for it. A lot of people are doing some hard yards and training really hard for this, which I think is all about the journey. It's about building up to the kaupapa, as opposed to just going, I'm a novice at this. I've got no experience. I'm just going to jump in and give it a go. We do encourage, like, there's 5 weeks left. You can still make some hearty yards in the next 5 weeks to sort of move your body so that you don't leave yourself found wanting at the end of it. I mean, like, it's an easy thing to just get up and go. You just have to make it part of your routine. The cool thing about Hawaiki Toa as well is, like, with our pounamu, we will ask the questions, do you guys want race medals or medals at the end of it? It's like, man, there's nothing heartier than earning your own pounamu and crossing that line knowing that you achieved that. You earned that. You did the work for that, as opposed to somebody giving you a medal at the end of it and saying congratulations for participating. It's more or less a self-fulfillment of who you are as a person and the yards that you just made, and that was acknowledged by none other than yourself.
Yeah, I love that. It's choicing, because every pounamu is different. It's unique. It's not, like a medal, like everything is the same. Not taking anything away from that, but a pounamu is unique. And I love that. I love that kaupapa of having that pounamu to take home with you as your prize. Is there any other information we need to know about Hawaiki Toa?
I think this being the first one, my bro, is we really do want to bring back to our urban whānau members, so to speak, or just anybody that's really, really keen, that if you do want to connect into an environment that's going to fulfill your wairua, that's going to enlighten your hinengaro, that's going to give you a different perspective on life, that this could be part of your lifestyle, because we do want to keep this kaupapa running over the next 3 years at least. And if you're going to be a part of that and grow this kaupapa, you want to be known to be in that photo to say that you were at the very first Hawaiki Toa Realm of the Gods obstacle course, because who knows what can happen from here. If Tough Mudder can sort of breach around the world and do its thing, if Spartan can go around and do its thing, if Tough Guy, Tough Girl can go up, Hawaiki Toa is on the same venture, but I think in a very authentic way, where you're going to get the heart of our Maori culture on the forefront of any urbanized city that wants to host this kaupapa. And we just want people to be a part of this very exciting kaupapa. So, for me, bro, it's just about encouraging our ones to get out there and move and do better for ourselves as well. But also, if you're a Maori, you can sort of come in there and just experience the whole thing. we will look after you no matter what ethnicity you are, but we do want to encourage people to just come in there and give this a good go.
All right, whānau. So there you have it. That's Hawaiki Toa. Head over to their website, hawaiikitoa.com, grab your ticket, sign up, and get your spot locked in. And oh man, it sounds exciting. I'm excited for you guys and everybody who's attending. And what I've decided to do just for this special interview, I've got a couple of incentives for people to sign up to the event. So I've got a couple of ebooks that I have. One's about high intensity training, and the other one's about jogging. So a quick start guide for jogging, and I've also got a fat loss course that I'm going to give away to anybody who decides to sign up over the weekend. So on Tuesday night, we are here all the way up to Sunday night. If you guys sign up to Hawaiki Toa, I'll get Beez to give me the information, and I'll send that bonus stuff. It's probably worth about $200, more than what the ticket of the price is, but I think it's worth it, just to attend the experience on itself. But for those who want a little bit of more incentive, I'll throw in a little tonga in there, a little park, just to say thank you for coming on for this interview. If that's everything we've got to talk about Hawaiki Toa, bro, we'll just sort of move into your business journey.
Yeah, cool, bro. Shucks, business for me started as a young kid. Business has been running through our whānau for a wee while. So I started up a skateboard shop in my garage when I was about 5 years old. And I had all of these wheels from all of my Christmas present skateboards I used to get. And I used to clean and polish these skateboard wheels. And I used to invite my friends over on a Saturday and sell them for 50 cents. And so that was my sort of introduction into the business world. I said, oh, well, like, you know, I bought that for nothing. That was gifted to me, and I can clean it up and sell it for a value. And I made $1 out of it, and that's pretty cool. And so all my mates started around on Saturdays and just swapping their skateboard wheels, and I would polish them and then sell them off to other mates. And that was sort of like my introduction into services, for goods and services. It was more or less sort of a little bit of a bug. And then I got a hiding because I sold my bike for $50. And that was the bike was about $400 and I sold it for 50 and I got a hiding for it. So I sort of learned, you know, there's boundaries in terms of the business world, and that, you know, you can't just go out there and sort of do what you please at any given time. There's a tikanga to it. And so as I grew up, I started dabbling in, you know, like you know, the rugby league cards and stuff like that. You know, I started venturing into owning a whole pack of rugby league cards and sort of going, oh, well, how can we do swapsies versus how can we go in then and start selling them to traders? And so that was my next step up. And I'd save up, I'd do my paper run, do the hard yards, go and buy all these Mickey-ass cards and then go and sell them to traders. And traders were like, yeah, I'll buy that for $200. I was like, mean, I'm like 10 years old getting $200. Sweet, okay, well, I can do that. And so that sort of gave me an incentive to learn about economics. And so when I went to Wellington College, I came from a kura kaupapa, so I could only read and write English, Maori, sorry. And then I went to an English school, and I was totally over my head. But economics was a kaupapa that sat with me, because my teacher would teach me in rugby terms, because I only knew my brain thought in rugby terms. So he would say, well, if you've got 7 players over there and there's an overlap over here, what do you think is the best scenario? Where's the best place to capitalize? And I said, I'll go to the space where the ball's going to sort of ultimately score points. And those points are going to get converted into sort of 5 points. And that's almost like your money-making scheme. So if you worked your numbers out and you got your numbers right, then you're always going to make a profit no matter what. And it's just the process of how the ball gets there to over the line. So he sort of taught me economics in a rugby world. And as I started diving more into rugby, I started always thinking economics. So when I came out of my rugby career, I went into a diploma in business and sort of learnt the business language, because, again, it's a different world. And then so I was exposed to ideas. So you've just heard me speak about I've got a crazy imagination. I'm a creative. And so I build a concept inside my mind. I look at the world and I say, okay, who is this demographic for, and does it serve a purpose in the world? So my needs and my wants to create a product that's going to be as of service to the world. That's when I started seeing the high demand on whether these ideas are going to be transferable into a business sense, and obviously it's paid off.
Choice, bro. I know that you fellas, you've been in the background as like Stan Walker and Rob Luha. You know, in the background is where did all the performance, all that kind of stuff start from?
Yeah, that was really initiated by my wife Kura, and she is very passionate about performing arts. You know, and sort of when we met, I was at the sort of pinnacle of my rugby career. So I was always into haka because we grew up with that, and I always knew I wanted to be a part of a haka group. And so her whānau group was there, and but I never wanted to sort of join it. I was like almost like forced. It was like, me now, so you got to jump in this group, and I was like, oh shit, you guys are like the Minez group, and so yeah, and I sort of really honored that time and sort of have high regards with the lessons that I learned in the Ropu, but that also sparked a contemporary feel for us to go out there and explore other realms, which we created a haka theatre Ropu called Hawaiki Toa, and this group was just really a bunch of rangatahi that got together and started creating contemporary dance forms out of traditional Maori movement. And so we would use a concept called Maori Movement to train to get fit so that we could explode our energies onto a performance stage. And that's how we got recognized by certain artists that wanted to utilize our skills as backup dancers or choreographers for their pieces. And so we've done a few over the years.
Yeah, no, that's choice. Because there's the one with Stan Walker when you guys are all sort of in the background and your it's like old school Maori warrior and riding along the beach on the horses and all that kind of stuff. It's a wicked video clip, eh? There's one you can put on and get inspired. Like you can put that video clip on, listen to that, watch that, and like ooh, pumped up. So that's wicked. From there, is that how you guys evolved into the Maori movement?
Yeah, I mean that's how we started formulating a sort of a training program that was going to keep us fit and sharp because of me having a rugby background. I always thought to myself, man, there's no way you can perform high intensity levels unfit or out of shape. And so we sort of crossed fusions over how could we create like a 1 hour hit out sort of high intensity program, but using Maori language to get us fit. We were inspired by the likes of Zumba and CrossFit and all of those phases that were out there at the moment, but none of it could teach us Maori language and a scope of being in a Maori world. So we wanted to make sure that we had access to the fundamentals of connecting into our movement, because that's what I think it makes us really, really unique, is that behind every movement there's intention, and behind every intention there's a spiritual element, and behind every spiritual element there's a connection. And so that's what made us sort of unique in terms of designing this kaupapa. And we use that through the form of sound and vibration, by using our voice, by using the spiritual elements to be able to influence the movement, to get our heart rate up to a certain point and then put us under fatigue, because really that's where you make all the gains, is when you're at fatigue and you're pushing your body through. So we were using it in a Maori way, and we just basically were inspired by a couple of atua matua back here in the realm, and we definitely acknowledge all of the work that they've done before us.
Experience Maori movement was awesome, eh? Like for me, I didn't know what to. When we first saw the videos, it wasn't actually me, it was my partner. She was like, "Oh, babe, hey, check this Maori fella out. He's talking about energy and Maori and all this fun stuff." So they really got really drawn in by that, hey, because being over in Australia, I sort of got into the Pākehā side of things, like law of attraction and learning all that type of stuff. So to hear Maori talking about that from a Maori perspective, they really like perked up my ears, and I was like, oh, you know. So when I did come to Maori Movement, it was an awesome experience, and I can definitely see how you can get fit, like going through all the atua and through the training stuff they did there. And it was just a great experience, and I highly recommend anybody out there listening to this to, when it comes to your city, go and check it out. I highly recommend it, bro. I guess where are you moving forward with Maori Movement and your kaupapa Hawaiki Toa at the moment? Where do you see what's your vision for the future?
Well, it's just an expansion of them working coincide together. I mean, like if you've got a wānanga base, it's like a 2-day workshop. Initially, when we designed Maori Movement, if you go into my web series, you will see like 15-minute workouts that you can subscribe to. I mean, you can make that a part of your everyday life or your everyday week or month or however you want to use that in your home environment. But then we started to create this bigger picture, which is not just about the movement, but it gives you a holistic sort of health hauora perspective on how our tupuna would practice the physical movements, the spiritual movements, the emotional tie-ins, and the mental faculties that they learnt over times and how to sustain themselves. Now, I think we've lost a little bit about that, and that's where I saw the gap. And the only way that I was exposed to that was I was exposed to statistics, and the stats were reading really, really low for our people, really high in the wrong areas. And so for me, I'm like, how do I then fill that gap? How do I create something that's going to bring forth that warrior within so that they can return back to the ancient world of what we whakapapa to originally, but then put that into a modern day context? And so I started tuning into all of the whakapapa stuff in and around Mauri. So that's the energy forms of how we stimulate ourselves versus how do we attract certain things in our lives, and that comes down to the mental faculties that are already in our whakapapa system. And so once I started breaking down all of that kōrero, the wānanga changed. It went from this big movement fitness thing to this holistic health program. And so I think that's where the wellness and bringing our people back into the light so that they can potentially be the best people that they can possibly be, or the best versions of themselves. And so that's the wānanga of it. But then, there's only sort of a couple of us practitioners around, and we couldn't get around to every province and stuff. So we had our very first practitioners wānanga on the weekend just gone, where we certified 35 practitioners. They can Maori Movement kaupapa around wherever they are. And so they're qualified to do so. But in saying that, we do want to push them into competing in something like Hawaiki Toa, because it's another incentive to say, I'm training, but what am I training for? And then we created Hawaiki Toa. And so from Hawaiki Toa, boom, I can use all of this fitness that I've been doing. I can peak myself here, and now go and enter into something like Hawaiki Toa and have the full-blown experience of what it may have been like for our tupuna back in the day.
Aye, bro. I totally agree with that, because it always makes things easier when there's some kind of purpose behind what you're doing. Like, you can kind of lose yourself, getting stuck in a routine without having a sort of a moment to climb, I guess. So, Maori Movement, start your training, and your moment is like getting to Hawaiki Toa and going through that and finishing, getting that pounamu at your taonga. Yeah, that's an awesome combination of things to work together. There's 35 trainers that are certified now, so I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of Maori Movement popping up around the motu.
One in Dunedin that's popped up at the moment. They're running. Melbourne's running. There's a kaupapa that's going to be starting in Gold Coast. There's a couple of practitioners over there already practicing. There's one in Sydney. The headquarters is obviously here in Tamaki Makaurau in Auckland, but we do really want to branch out to the likes of Hawaii. We do want to go to California, San Francisco, Vancouver in Canada, and ultimately I'd like to go and channel back through into, say, Thailand, Japan. If we were to go back into our whakapapa roots back into that voyage, it'll be a choice wānanga in itself. And if I could meet other like-minded martial artists that carry the art form of their traditional fighting style, we could definitely see some sort of fusion happening. And you know, it's a good way to give back because, you know, we've been over years, especially us that were born in the 80s, we were heavily influenced by martial art movies like, you know, the Bruce Lees and stuff like that. But knowing that in our whakapapa, we actually have our own stories of our own atua matua warriors who were like mean and dominated, and they had their own style, and the flow and the flurries that they would create out of that was definitely inspired by how we can incorporate this into not so much of a mentality to go to war or kill anybody, but just to have that art form under your belt to, you know, get that identity within yourself. So that's why we've incorporated a lot of the martial art feel within Maori movement, and then branching off obviously to the knowledge, the philosophies, the states of meditation that you go to be able to center yourself is really, that's where the holistic wellness comes into the kaupapa.
Oh, that's awesome, bro. It sounds like there's going to be a lot happening. So, whānau out there watching, keep your, because it's going to be coming. But I'll just sort of transition on to sort of, for your business building, have you ever had any like low points, bro? Because I know as business people, you know, we can't go through our highs and our lows. Was there any sort of lows that you've been through?
Yeah, there's been quite a few low points, and I think those were my greatest lessons. You know, and obviously, one thing to go out there and get your numbers right and go out there and serve your business idea to a demographic or to an audience that's going to have a high need for what you do. But one thing for me is that I suffered burnout because I worked so hard in the business that I didn't really create any leverage for myself to work on the business. And that was the biggest sort of learning lesson that I felt when I was coming to a stage of burnout where I was just overworking and sort of the money revenue was coming in, but the balance wasn't there. And so, you know, it pulled me a lot away from my whānau. It gave me this sort of not greedy sort of vibe, but I was drawn to the success of what I was doing, that I was just suffocating myself in the mahi. But I've learned that through my movement, and how I did that was that I said, okay, well, there's only one of me, there's only one of Kura, but if we could step out and create other practitioners and teach them the plan, then that gives us space to work on the business and they work in the business. And, you know, it's a win-win for everybody because they were passionate about it. These 35 that came through the practitioners wānanga were so passionate about the kaupapa that it gave them the freedom to go out and do what they wanted, but earn money on top of it. And for us, that was a win-win for us because, you know, we're teaching them business smarts. And, you know, I want to teach Maori entrepreneurs how our gift as, you know, the uniqueness that we carry as Maori into everyday society, that, you know, like, we're a unique selling point in itself. It's just being able to tap into those powers that we naturally have and feed into a demographic that's high in need of our supplies.
Yeah, choice, bro. So what would be some like telltale signs, like you sort of say for anybody listening out there or watching this, what would be some telltale signs that you're sort of slowly starting to get into that burnout? Like,
definitely sleep deprived. If your routine is outside of the sort of the 7 hours sort of regime, as an entrepreneur, some days you have to sacrifice some early mornings and go to bed late at night just to make it through your sort of trimester or whatever you're trying to chase. So having some key principal indicators about what you're chasing, but allowing yourself to make sure that you are looking after your wellness first. Because, you know, you look at somebody like Steve Jobs, who invested a shitload of time into his business, but then had to use all of those millions of dollars on getting himself well, and before you know it, he passed away. So you hear stories of entrepreneurs that go out there and work too hard, they earn all this money, but then have to spend that money on their health and well-being. So the balance wasn't there in the first place. If you were just a little bit patient with your milestones and how you were going to get to the pinnacle point of your business career, then, you know, you could learn how to sort of balance that out a little bit. But yeah, signs of fatigue, losing weight drastically very, very fast, moody, definitely getting moody. That's going to happen no matter what, but, you know, just the intensity of it, You just got to be a little bit more mindful of how you conduct that, and spending quality whānau time is always important as well.
Yeah, that's some awesome points there, bro. Like, cause I can definitely relate to a lot of those, like no sleep deprivation, not spending time with whānau, and a lot of the times I feel it's not being aware of what you're doing. Like, you're so focused and you're so involved in whatever you're doing, you kind of tend to lose your awareness of what's going on around you. But sometimes it's good to take a step back and then, okay, yeah, I need to catch up on a little bit of moi, or I need to spend some time with the whānau.
Just like Beez, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, you be coming this interview, boy.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, everybody.
Kia ora. Oh, that's choice. And say if you were to start off something brand new, say this is just a advice for somebody who's sort of thinking about getting into business. You were only just to get started. So you had $500 cash, you had your phone, you had a laptop. Didn't have to worry about kai because you're staying with auntie or uncle or something like that. What would be your advice to somebody who started in a business?
Well, if I had $500, I'd try and figure out how to make $1,000 out of that $500 first and foremost, without going to the poker machine and gambling it. There are different ways on how to sort of build based on, if you were smart about knowing the 4 quadrants, which is liabilities, assets, income, and outgoing. So if you understood the basic fundamentals of those 4 principles, you would start thinking about how I could invest in some form of asset that was going to make that 500 go into something more. And then I would probably use that 500, pocket it, and then go and spend that 500. So I've already got like a base 500 in the back to get me going. So yeah, if we start thinking more along how can we start to grow our fundamentals. So for me, I started a company called Beez Fitness, which is a corporate fitness company. And I go into corporates and I train the senior management. And I had nothing to my name, and I sold this package. But what I needed was I needed the laptop, I needed my phone, and I had no funds. So what I did was I made these clothing labels, and I sold some hoodies, and I sold some tights, and I made revenue off that. So I just put the order in and sold them online, and that's how I made my money. So what that did was that gave me the ability to buy a car, to buy a phone, to buy a laptop, and then I just sort of kept doing that. And I said, oh, yep, if that's going to work, then I'll buy more clothes and sell them online as a fitness brand and sell them to my corporate companies. And that started to create a little bit of a residual income. But then I got too caught up in doing that mahi that it took me away from the line of work that I was meant to be doing. So you're going to find yourself, you're going to get caught in a web, and you're going to get caught in toing and throwing yourself. But what you have to remember is what is going to be sustainable enough for you to anchor your business. So you have to look at where is the money pool coming from, figure out what your expenses are, and then what you got left over. And if you can sort of figure out what you've got left over, then that's the money you need to focus on, because that's your net worth. And if you can focus on where that net worth goes, you can sort of say, cool, I've got $5,000 at the end of this month. I'm going to go and invest it in like an employee, get them on for a week and just leverage that work and sort of build it that way. And I think sometimes we get caught up on trying to do everything ourselves, that, we want to be able to build a team. You build the team, and the team builds the business. And I think if you can start focusing on that our people already had that. We had a hapu. Inside the hapu, they were building the hapu, and the chiefs were out there trying to think of the next big plan. And I think if we can start thinking that on a entrepreneurial stake, that every single member inside that hapu had their own mana, because they were specialized at something, and it was a little bit of like a give and take sort of thing. But instead of, I'm not a big fan of being a boss and bossing people. I'm more of a fan of what's your quality and how do we make that meet as one. and then everybody sort of wins. There's good wairua, there's good camaraderie, and then you ultimately grow the iwi, and the iwi becomes a dominant entrepreneurial hub.
Oi. Oh, Joyce, bro, that's awesome advice for people who are sort of looking at getting started or actually in their business and sort of looking for some direction. So, and then like the bro said, B said, you didn't even have any money to start off with. Just, look for something where you can make some profit, bank some, invest that, keep investing in things that you know will pay you back. So that's awesome advice, bro. Just going to go into a quick fire round. So just short questions. So what's your favourite, kina or pawa?
Kina.
Cool. Rewana or fry bread?
Rewana.
Chur. Swan dry or gumboots?
Gumboots.
Haka or waiata?
Ooh, it's a tough one. Oh, they both make the heartstrings boil, but I probably would do more waiata than I do haka.
Aye. Beers or spirits or something else? Why maybe?
Getting into my red wine these days. Red wine's a little bit of a just gives you enough kick to take the edge off.
Good. If you only have a glass of martini, if you drink a hot bottle, it's a bit troublesome. And Queensland or New South Wales?
Queensland.
Sure, bro. Queensland. Hey, that's our quick fire round, my bro. Just moving into Te Reo section. Do you have a favourite whakatauki or proverb you want to share with everybody?
One that comes to mind. I've been blessed with so many different whakatauki over time, but one that this is the Pākehā one. One that really pops out for me that I stuck with and I still say it every day is, if it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you. And that whakatauki or that proverb is really about the mentality of what it means to be something in this world. And so I'm always one to push myself outside my comfort zone with everything that I'm doing. And if it's making me uncomfortable, then I know that I'm making yards in the right direction. So yeah, if it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you. And a Maori one that was gifted over by Dr. Ngāpuwehi was He Taonga Te Whakarongo. He Taonga Te Whakarongo is really about, it's not just hearing through here, but it's listening on all senses and all channels and knowing that it's got to fit right within your kaupapa to sort of, align yourself to. So He Taonga Te Whakarongo, anybody can talk, anybody can sort of yarn away and everybody has opinions and stuff like that, but when you can sit and you can inherit all of that mātauranga and then turn it into something through action, then you know that you've really learned the art of listening, eh?
Oh, that's an awesome one, eh? Just goes in the target, eh? The being aware of your senses, eh? And your surroundings. That's choice. This is another question. How good is your reo?
How good is my reo? Oh man, I'm forever learning. Ever learning my reo. I kuraina ana hau ki roto I te kohanga reo te kākano ki tītahi, ki roto I te whananui atara. He noi peke atu ana hau ki roto I te kura tuatahi, ki roto I te kākano. Tahi anō ka kuraina atu ana hau ki roto I te kura takawaina o tītahi hoki. Tahi anō ka whakaaro ana taku māma. Ko rai tēnei tagata e pai ana ki te pānui, pai ki te tuhi Pākehā. Tērā te raru, me haere ana koe ki te kura Pākehā, whakaako ana hau ki te kāreti o pōneke, pai muri aki I tēnā ka haere atu ana hau ki te wānanga o Aotearoa, whakaako ana hau ki taku reo anō. Maha ngā akoaranga kai waho I ngā kura, ara ko ngā kura reo, ko panekeretanga tētahi atu. Nō reira, ko tēnei taku reo, aroha nui atu ana hau, tino aroha nui atu ana hau ki tō tātou reo rangatira. I kōrero ana māu ki taku horangatira ki o māu nei pēpi ki roto I te whare, I roto I tō tātou reo rangatira, nō reira. Tēnei te whakautu ana ki a koutou mā. That's how good my reo is so far.
The reo was mean, whānau. The reo was mean. All right. Do you have a favourite Maori idol or figure that you look up to, maybe growing up or even now as an adult?
Yeah, there's been a couple of really key Maori role models for me that I have had the privilege to sort of research, study under their tauira at the moment. Well, Kingi Tāwhiao, for me, he was a prominent leader in amongst Waikato, and his legacy lives on through all of his tongikura or his Whakatauki, rānei, and all of his proverbs are always spoken about on every marae and tainui. And so when you hear the prophecies that came out of his wisdom, you can definitely feel that. So I'm inspired by his movement. Another one that I trained under, Ngā Puwehi, from Te Wakahuia, I was privileged enough under my wahine's whānau, Papa Hohepa Talamea, inspired by a Maurākau expert named Te Irirangi Takiawa. Learned a little bit under one of the students from Wetini Mita, which is Tukiterangi Curtis. Just aligning myself with, like prominent leaders amongst our people these days is just amazing. There's just so many inspirational male role models out there, but there's also females out there that really inspire me as well. And I like there's back in Waikato as well. You have Te Atairangi Kahu, you have her auntie Te Puia. So there are prominent leaders amongst our own that I'm really drawn towards, and very thankful that they walked through the processes of what they did. Otherwise, our reo wouldn't be where it is today. Our driven kaupapa wouldn't be where it is today. So, I really honour our tupuna and what they left behind for us to carry on.
Yeah, that's awesome, eh, bro? Like, for me, myself, it wasn't until I opened my eyes that I actually started to see a lot more people. I guess it just wasn't open, eh? Like, I think that for some people, maybe that's maybe what they don't see as role models is you just have to open your eyes, because there are a lot of people out there that are doing a lot of awesome things, and for our Māori out there, it's just opening your eyes and being aware of what's out there. So, kia ora to all those people. Do you have a favourite food, New Zealand food, or any food from around the world?
Well, I was brought up on the water, so I'm a kaimoana whalai, and so kina, pā, paura, kutai, tio, all of the kaimoana is definitely in my daily diet. But obviously, I've been meeting up with a brother named Rāniera Rewiri, who is a plant-based Maori, and his kaupapa is based in and around Tupuanuku, and the mana that's drawn from Tupuanuku, and he's written a book about his veganism sort of kaupapa at the moment. Well, I'm a pescatarian, so I eat a little bit of both. So I've gone away from the chicken and the red meat sort of thing. Doesn't mean I don't eat it. I still consume it. But for me, really, kaimoana is my, I can live off that stuff, man. I can eat a whole sack of kina, and that'll be my entree.
Yeah. hide around the back with it, eh?
Don't come. You're gonna smoke my. It's like that's when fights start.
Choice. Do you have any favorite New Zealand films or TV shows?
Man, one that we're thrashing at the moment in our house is because our little boy loves is it the Wilder People, written by Taika Waititi. So that's a hard case one that's going on in our whare at the moment. Wasn't really a big fan of Once We're Warriors. I watched it a few times and didn't really connect with that one very much. I think that one motivated me to sort of change the perception of what it meant to be Maori. And I went over to Hawaii one time, like, bro, do you know Jake the Musk? I was like, yeah, he's my uncle. They're like, hey, he's your uncle. You must be a mean scrapper. I was like, yeah, no, he's my uncle. I gave my hiding last week, and but that's the there's woman beaters, and like that stigma of that's who we are as Maori, and I was motivated by that movie. So yeah, that one's off the bucket list. But another really cool New Zealand film was another one from Taika Waititi was Boy. I thought that was hard case. It showed anything that shows Maori humour, because you don't really see it, eh? When you see Maori culture, you see like hard, tikanga, pohiri, wero, haka, everything is rah, rah, rah. But when you look you see like something like Taika Waititi's humour just shine through, and you know that's what you see at the back of the kitchen, like everything that's ceremonially in the front, but at the back, man, there's this party going on with all of our uncles just cracking us up. So yeah, I like all of the hard case stuff.
Yeah, no, it was refreshing, eh, boy. It was a lot of a good movie, eh? A lot of hard case things in there. Oh, I cracked up when the girl was having the coda for tea. Like, oh no, crayfish again. Hard case, eh? Crack up, man. But moving on to the final part of the podcast interview, bro. Do you have any books that you could recommend to anyone?
The Winner's Bible, man, if you can get a hold of the Winner's Bible, that's really going to construct and plant some amazing seeds inside your subconscious mind. I read a book called Tawhio, King or Prophet. That's obviously a one from Taunui Waka that shows a little bit about the history of colonization, history pre-European days. That's got a lot of whakapapa stuff in it too, which is what I like. And if you want to learn about the kingitanga and its movement, that's a really cool book. I'm about reading into those law of attraction books as well. Those are all really, really cool. They give us some really key tools to be taking into concepts like gratitude. Like if you look at the word gratitude, it has a power and a mana within itself, and I think that our people are very we were already thinking on those terms. We just did it in a very different way. So those in terms of Pākehā books and Tawiwi books, those are massive ones to read. The other one I won't name because it's got a couple of swear words in it, and I'm not about to promote one, but it's almost like, F the bullshit, and it's real like hard, fast sort of facts about getting rid of bullshit out of your life. So that's a pretty cool one as well. So if you see any of those ones, those are awesome.
Oh, choice, bro. I'll be definitely looking up a couple of those. Have you got any advice for our young ones?
Man, don't grow up too fast. Don't grow up too fast. That's my biggest one. It's like, be a rangatahi. Be a rangatahi. Go out there and explore your potential. Recognize your circle of influence. Recognize the people you hang around with, because peer pressure is easy these days. And I just watched a little documentary on this on Facebook about this young fella who's from Tūhoe. At 15, he made the New Zealand Open men's touch team. At the same age, he won manu korero, but because he was hanging around the wrong crowd, he got caught in pee, and his life went down the gurgler, and he sort of hasn't recovered ever since. So if you look on marae documentaries, you'll be able to see his korero. And I think if you can pay attention to making sure you watch who you hang around with, the influences that are around in your life, the vocab and the language that you use, the music that you listen to, protect everything, because subconsciously you could be planting thoughts and seeds inside your mind's eye. By the time you come to your conscious awakening, you sort of have no control over how you're to construct yourself. So but go off and have fun. Definitely be a rangatahi. Don't grow up too fast, and really just love life as a rangatahi.
Oh, choice, bro. That's advice I haven't heard from anybody. Like, being in the moment, and sort of being a kid and being a teenager, all that kind of stuff, and having fun. But I totally agree with that, bro, because I know somebody who went from high school to university, and I wish I had maybe taken a gap in between high school and deciding what I wanted to do with my life, because at that age I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of like drifting, just like a leaf blowing in the breeze. So it wasn't until sort of going to mahi that I sort of figured out, okay, I don't like that. I'll try this. I don't like that. I'll try this. And so I sort of come around to where I am now. And it's constant, it's a constant thing. You're always sort of looking, having a try of that or this, and figuring out if you like it or don't like it. That's how you can get clear on where you want to go. So if you don't know what you want to do after kura, figure out, pick one thing, go have a go at it. If you don't like it, okay, what else can I try? Yeah, that's mean. So I guess the last thing is where can people follow you and follow your journey, bro?
So I mean, like the obvious social media fan pages that we've created is around Maori Movement and Hawaiki Toa. So if you go around to Maori Movement and Hawaiki Toa on both Instagram and Facebook, they're two separate pages. But on there, they've got links to our websites if you need any other information about where we're going to be presenting workshops, etc. You know, there's definitely opportunities to come to any of our wānanga that we're going to be holding. Any of our workshops we're going to be holding, any of our mic nights, but definitely keep an eye out for podcasting as well. Go onto our Maori Movement website. If you want to go and follow the Maori Movement life, there's heaps of content on there in terms of fitness workouts, ancient philosophies in and around Atua. You know, and I'm still no expert in Atua. I'm still learning the reo. I'm still learning tikanga. I'm still learning processes. I'm still learning atuatanga. Tapu, you know, like I'm in wānanga at the moment, and I believe that, you know, you should never stop learning. So that's what wānanga creates. It creates us to go and explore and learn different things, and which is really, really cool to see people now coming into their own and saying, I want to connect back into my Māoritanga. So if you want to come to any of our wānanga, no mai piki mai hara mai koto wana ki ngā wānanga katoa.
Oh, choice, bro. That's a wrap up of our interview. I'm here with Beez Ngarino Te Waati. Kia ora, bro. Thank you for coming on and sharing all your kaupapa, all your knowledge, dropping all your gold. I know I've taken a lot away from this interview. You know, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other people that are going to take a lot of goodness out of this. So if you're listening or watching, share this with people who you think will find some value from it. And make sure you go and follow their pages. Hawaiki Toa, get your ticket. Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited for that kaupapa. And keep an eye out for Maori. And yeah, kia ora, bro. Thank you for the interview. And I'm sure we'll be seeing more of you. And I'll be keeping a close eye on your journey and how you guys develop over the years to come. So, kia ora.
Ngā mihi atu ana ki te hunga mātakitaki a tira te hunga whakarongo. Feel free to share this whānau. The more people that can tune into this interview and follow the Chur Maori fella, it'll be awesome, because, you know, what we're speaking about on here is everyday life stuff. And so, yeah, share this if you can with your friends and your whānau. Chuck a comment and some questions up there, because the bro's just dropped on some mean gifts, giving away his puka and his information. Holy hika, man. Yeah, Mauri Ora kia koe, my bro. Thank you for hosting me tonight, and I look forward to doing some more mahi with you in the future.
Kia ora, bro.
Mauri Ora.
Mauri Ora.